All right, Nick Vantrease, High Street Raps. How you doing?
Good, good. What's going on?
Well, first question before we dive in. So, what's up with the mustache, man? What kind of vibe are you going for right
My,
now?
my I've only been growing the mustache for like maybe not even a year, but I felt like it was time, you know, time to switch it up a little bit.
Good.
Stop shaving. So it's something I just keep at a decent length. But I can't really grow it that large. I don't really grow hair like that. So this is about it.
Gotcha. You think you're getting more sales with the stash than before?
Yep, yep.
Good. It's working. So, High Street Raps, like, where did the name come from?
So High Street Wraps. I didn't want the name to be like part of my name or anything like that. I wanted the business to exist like on its own and kind of as the name, not use my last name and stuff or first name or anything like that. High Street, I just thought about sort of taking the high road or being like superior to like the industry or as far as like the designs and wraps and what we do goes. So High Street kind of matched that name to me, and that's really it. There was a little that there's a little bit of thought that went into it, but other than that, I liked it because it was different, and it's not my name. It's not based on a person, so it makes sense. Like it's the entity. That's the name of the business. So yeah, that's really the reason why. There's not too much of a story behind that piece.
What area are you coming from?
So we're the business itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, the business is in Roseville, California, Northern California, um, just out northeast of the Sacramento region. It's a very popular destination to move to in California right now. The city is they're putting a lot of homes and a lot of people, and there's a lot going on here. So I believe it's a good place to do business for that reason. And I wouldn't really want to move it anywhere else. I that's the kind of I chose this area specifically.
That's awesome. It's a good market.
Yeah, I think the market's good. There's definitely a lot of competition, which makes me try to be different, and I think we're doing that. Especially when it comes to content and getting in front of the camera. I mean, half these business owners, I don't even know their face or who owns the place. So
Yeah.
you're helping me with that.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Just in case the audience doesn't know, I'm Jake and I handle Nick's website. So this is kind of an inside job that's happening right now. So, I'm looking at the background, your shop looks clean. I think you told me that you recently moved from your old shop to this new location. And I remember your old shop, you had all the walls wrapped. And I was like, that looks so cool, so personal. Um, so like, how long have you been around? Like, like what are the places you've bumped around, like location wise, and what made you want to start your own business,
Well, I originally started an iteration of this business in 2015, and it was called North Bay Auto Wraps. And I had a few partners in that business, and we were in um, the Sonoma County area, more towards the Bay Area. And there was in 2015, there wasn't a lot of people like with too many wrap shops, and um, we just kind of got a printer, got the equipment, and actually started doing a lot of commercial stuff off the bat because no one was really around doing it. So we got a pretty good market share in that area to begin with. Um, and then just for personal reasons, me and my family picked up, moved out to Lincoln and more Northern California. And ever since then, I was like always teetering with the idea. I need to be closer to the business. Eventually, just opened up a shop in Roseville, so not too far from where I live. Um, Eventually, partners went away. Um, Partners went away, and then started High Street Wraps. and
Cool.
this is kind of where we're at now.
I think your phone just flipped itself. And right
Yeah,
now you're like
there's
vertical.
a there's a phone call right now coming in. Why is it
Oh, okay. That's why.
going like that? Yeah, give me a second.
All right.
So we closed. It was getting pretty hard to run and pretty thin on my time to go back and forth between Sonoma County and Placer County to run business and stuff. So we just made the decision to close up two of the shops that were down there. So we had two shops open and just focus on the Roseville shop. And that's when High Street Wraps was formed. And the other business, the name, I mean, didn't make sense. It was called the North Bay. So we're not in the North Bay. And that's the whole reason for getting High Street Wraps going, um, and moving towards the single location, basically.
Yeah. So it's been around for like, a better half of a decade, right?
Correct.
Um,
Correct.
and over the decade, like, how has the industry changed or shifted, like, based on your observations?
Well, I think the industry's changed. There's a lot of, as far as the business side, the B2B contact, the B2B companies that we work with, it's mandatory that they're wrapping vans and putting graphics on it. Like it's no longer an option to drive white vans around because there's so many people doing it. So um, we're definitely a necessity when it comes to a business when they're starting and buying more vans. We're always thought of because they need that branding on. And then we're also thought of on the back end where they're either going on to another business, changing their branding, and things are getting removed. So we're kind of at the front and the back end of the B2B side. That has only gotten stronger as the years have gone on. Just because, like I was saying, is there's so many people doing it. You kind of, if you're not doing it and you got blank fans and you're actually trying to grow a company, it makes zero sense. I mean, you got to put your name on your stuff. You're not going to walk into a blank restaurant and ask what they make. It's kind of, you got to put your name on your vehicles. The consumer side, I think. There's definitely a set of people who pay the price to do the personal stuff. But there's even a larger set of people who are super price conscious about it, that there's a lot of options now. Like there's way more options to go get your car personally wrapped by some smaller shop or by a kid in his garage or something like that. Like that's only picked up more and more. And that's gotten hard. We don't really try to compete with that. We got to stick to a certain price because we got overhead and certain things. So the color changes and the more personal stuff has definitely gotten a little bit less. Definitely.
Cool. Hey, I just found out how to split the screen.
I see that.
I always see both of us.
I can see myself right now.
That's awesome, dude. All right. Wraps, dude, it always fascinates me, right? Because whenever I drive around, I see all those trucks and vans, and they're so massive, and you got all the graphics going. Like, what's the process from designing it, from actually installing it, to like even maintenance? How do you make sure it's not like peeling off in like a couple months?
Yeah. So when someone contacts us, they want a full designed wrap with print and everything like a commercial company. We subscribe to a template program that has a template of their vehicle. Anything within the last 15 to 20 years, we can get a template for it. That's in a 20 scale version that we use Adobe Illustrator with. But we take their graphics or assets, their digital assets, logos, colors, everything like that. And there's a upfront design fee to start laying out their graphics on their vans if they don't already have a look that we're just matching. There'll be some back and forth with design, and then once design and look, everything is approved, that's when we move into production and actually start producing the graphics. And that to me is like, it's kind of like baking a cake. There's a lot of ingredients that have to go into this thing, and then on the other end, you get this finished product of this material with this gloss or like matte lamination, and you have this color, or you have this these graphics that are of the finished product, and that finished product is what actually gets put on the vehicle. And it's a bunch of raw goods to kind of get together and start squeezing on this material. So the thing is, a lot of people think once you design this, like it's all computer cut and all this stuff. I mean, it's not really the case. We're printing big sheets of panels, and kind of every vehicle is one off. I mean, every vehicle is a one-off project, even if it's sometimes the same exact vehicle, something's different about it. So it's all one-off, custom print to tailored to the project.
Okay, so have you had a customer come in and they have this most ridiculous idea ever, and you don't want to, tell it to their face? Like, how did you handle situations like that?
Yeah, I mean, we've had some crazy requests, as far as maybe colors, or printing like Joker from Batman on the side of their vehicle. There's a lot of character style stuff people look at and see stuff online, and they just want to know about it, or they actually start doing it. I mean, at the end of the day, we got the printer, and if they got the means to get the image, or we can get this stuff, I mean, we can print it and put it on the car. That goes for someone's business or the personal side. So it's really all up for negotiation. You can do anything. It's really endless, to be honest.
So if a customer insists on a job and you do it, 2 months later, they come back, they say, oh, you know what? You're right. It's stupid. Get their money back.
By the time we get their money, or at least a deposit, that conversation's been had. Like, are we doing this? So I don't give back too many deposits, to be honest. It's either they're committing to it, or we didn't even get that far to begin with to even get the deposit. So there's maybe been a handful of times the last 5 years that I've given a deposit back. So,
That's good.
we got to make sure they're committed to doing this, because it takes time and effort from us, and we got to pay people and buy materials to do the job. So we got to make sure they're in too.
Great. What's the biggest job you've ever had?
The biggest job I ever had was a few years into business. Sorry, this is not the biggest job. This was the most revenue in the shortest amount of time job, but it did require a lot of help from other people. So Lyft contacted me from San Francisco, and they said, hey, we're doing this promotion on St. Patrick's Day. We need 3 Priuses wrapped in 12 different states, and we need 3 at each of these locations in a gold color with Lyft lettering on the doors. I said, okay. So we basically picked a 3M gold, metallic gold out, this vinyl. I contacted all these shops near their area across the United States, in Florida, in Chicago. I mean, literally all around the United States, New York. And I coordinated all the vehicles getting to these shops, 3 at each shop, 3 Priuses at each shop. And I basically shipped 28 rolls of material to all these shops, spread out, and all the graphics. So we did it about 4 days before St. Patrick's Day, and every shop wrapped 3 Priuses at the same time, including us in the Bay Area. So that was a big one. I mean, that was like, 90 grand in a couple days to do. And it was a big job to take on. But I actually had help from a gentleman in Missouri who I talked to today. He helped me kind of coordinate that, because he prints and ships stuff. So he's like, this is easy, man. You just need to do this, this, and this. So followed his lead, and he helped me do it.
That's great. The coordination it took alone was an amazing feat.
Yeah, the multi-state thing was just like, all right, this is going to be a little crazy, but uh, we got it to work. I contacted these shops and they were all in, so I got all the material shipped to my shop, and I shipped from there basically once I knew the shops were in and ready to do it.
Did Lyft post pictures on their social media?
Yeah, Lyft did a thing on the news. I still have it on one of my, it's on the really low in my Instagram because it was early on.
You
So
got to pin that.
it's still on there.
Yeah, you got to pin that. Did they do like a collaboration, Lyft and High Street Wraps?
No, they don't really care about that, you know. They were just like, "Hey, can you do it?"
Big corporations.
Yeah, right.
What's the biggest challenge you've had, 10 years running this business? The big challenge that you were like, you know what? It's so freaking frustrating. I don't even think I can do this anymore.
Yeah, I think probably a lot of owners would agree is um when you're in need of some help, uh it's hard to find the help. So getting the list of people that can help you as far as installation wise, because there's a lot of waves in this business, and when there's a lot going on, you need a lot of people to help push the cars out. So training the people and keeping them to install is definitely one of the difficult pieces. Some people like to gain some knowledge then leave. It's really hard to know their genuine intentions. It's definitely one thing I'm trying to change, is just try to create a culture where someone wants to stay and learn and be a part of it. On the other side is I got to rely on contractors a lot too. So getting their availability, making sure they can come in and knock jobs out while either I'm printing or selling the next stuff. Um, I can't install every wrap, and I don't want to install every wrap. I'm trying to, run the business. Um, I think there's this guy from the Institute I follow. He says there's no millionaire installers. I mean, you got to start learning how to run the business. You ain't gonna make it just going out there installing by yourself, and it's not gonna work. You're not gonna really have a business. You got a high paying job at best. So trying to get out of that role has been probably one of the most difficult things.
Yeah.
Along those lines is definitely, this business is super cash heavy. So cash flow is, you go a week or two of not getting fully booked and reaching your capacity in your shop, then now there's not a lot of cash to do what you want to do, which is maybe hire someone or bring some contractors in, things like that. So, and it's the hardest thing I've ever tried to do, is run a business. Sometimes I'm like, what am I doing?
You're preaching to the choir.
I hear you,
You're
man.
right. You got to think like a business owner. You cannot think like an employee.
Yeah, once you start installing, you realize that's 1/8 of the things that actually need to get done and that you need to be proficient at. Like, you got to learn how to manage the transactions in QuickBooks and learn about how much money is going out, and then what about the money that you actually need to hit so that your business can be okay after you pay everyone. Like, what do you're not going to know that at the beginning. You're like, oh, I don't know if you read the E-Myth by Michael Gerber, but it's like, you're so good at baking cakes, just go open up a cake store and bake cakes. It's like, well, that doesn't work. You're a technician owned business that you just know how to bake cakes good. You don't know how to talk to customers. You don't know how to sell it. You don't know any of that. I mean, that's that high paying job that we're talking about that doesn't really last.
Exactly. Because at that point, you're just a glorified employee.
Yeah. I mean, you're literally employed yourself to run something that doesn't freaking sleep, and it's going to drive you crazy.
And that's the difference between self-employed and running a company. If you pitch to a, investor to sell your company, the first question they're going to ask you is, if you remove yourself, is your business still going to be functional? If the answer is no, then you can't sell the business.
Yeah, no, it's worth it. Yeah. And as duties get more and responsibilities go on, the more plugged into your business you are, I mean, the worse off you're going to be. So I'm trying to be super conscious about that, about like my involvement and where I need to be. Because if I'm sitting here doing everything and not trying to bring someone in to take a part of that off of me, then you don't really have anything. It's not valuable. It's worth
Mhm.
nothing, you
You
know?
got to build a system.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey man, I see you in the shop all day, every day, dude. I mean, is your wife mad at you? Like kids situation, how do you balance life and running a business? I think that's the
Yeah.
question we all ask as a business.
Yeah. I mean, I got 4 kids in 3 different schools, all, elementary, middle, high school. My wife's working at the high school. She understands what I'm trying to do and the vision I have. And if it's working late, if it's leaving on a Saturday and kind of doing whatever I have to do, um, we make it work. Sometimes it's tough and it's a pain, but um, at the end of the day, the vision is this business and trying to make this work. And um, plus, I'm kind of the breadwinner a little bit, so I have to be able to, put this all on my back and carry it. I think that's what a lot of men probably get trapped, not trapped as far as like you're in the business, but like it's a lot. It's like a big burden to carry. So I think I'm okay with that. I kind of bet on myself to be like, okay, I'm gonna make this work as long as I got the support like that. I don't think it's a balance. I don't think it's ever going to be a balance. It's like harmony. It's like they just have to work together. But maybe a season of like, okay, the next 18 months is like, I'm going to go hard and I'm going to work 60 plus hours and not, you know, uh, kind of take some time off or whatever it may be and really just dive in. And I think you'll be probably years ahead if you do something like that.
1000%. There's never going to be balance in a business owner's life. It's good and it's also bad because you can't really turn that off, but it also gives you more freedom than clock in and out as an
I,
employee.
yeah, I think there is no balance. Look at someone who wins and who is successful. Like there's no balance in their life. They went all in for years and gave up all that stuff. There's things that are going to have to be given up, whether it's time with friends, all that. You're going to have to choose one of them because if you want your business to do something then and win, then that's what it's going to require. Like, and if you don't, and you just kind of want to come in here 9 to 5, then don't expect your business to be great.
Exactly. And that's the sacrifice that most people don't see. Both people who are both inside and outside, right? People who are already business owners, they can't see that. And ultimately they fail because they still have that employee mindset. They still want that 9 to 5. They still want to, I'm not saying, like totally neglecting your family, neglecting your personal life, but you've got to understand there's sacrifices that need to be made. And then also outsiders looking in, they're like, oh, these guys are driving fancy cars or they have all these freedom and flexibility, but they don't see the sacrifices that you put in.
No, I mean, you could be in business like this for 15 years, then year 16, you sell it for, a couple $1,000,000, $20 million, and they can be like, oh, wow, how did he do that? And it's like, well, look at the last 15 years of his life. you know?
This is great. What do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? If I could give all this up and just have some income on the side and live, I would go play golf every day. And I would try to join the senior PGA Tour by the time I'm 50, and I would go travel and play some golf for sure.
That's amazing. You should come up here to Sammamish, Washington. That we got some of the best golf courses over there.
I've heard there's some good ones up there.
Yeah, it's just green. Everything's green, trees. Sasquatch and bears,
Yep.
and cougars, and coyotes everywhere.